Several stories out, New York Times, Politico, both having talked to dozens of staffers at the White House and in the administration. And it turns out, not good news, Donald Trump, a bit of a child. Now, this is exactly what we warned you about. Here, let me give you specifics, though. New York Times explains, while Mr. Obama liked policy option papers that were 3 to 6 single-spaced pages, council staff members are now being told to keep papers to a single page with lots of graphics and maps. Oh my God. Oh, the fate of the free world rides on this guy. Look, I've been there, brother. I mean, I was there when I was in 3rd grade, but still, okay? And I remember in law school, I'm just trying to get the hell out of there, and I filled it with graphs and maps. They're like 25 pages. I got 10 pages of maps. I got it, right? But you're the president of the United States. You're the commander-in-chief. Even the 3 to 6 pages that Obama had, I remember making fun of that. Like, hey, man, if they can't contain North Korean policy to 6 pages, let's read 7, right? So, but this guy's down to 1 page with lots of pictures. A White House official said, quote, "The president likes maps." Oh my God, what have we done? And I'm just getting started. We're going to Politico. Okay, get a load of this opening sentence. Being president is harder than Donald Trump thought, according to aides and allies who say that he's growing increasingly frustrated with the challenges of running the massive federal bureaucracy. Oh, is it harder than you thought it was? Of course it's hard. You're the leader of the free world. You're the president of the United States. Oh my God. Oh, what a child, what a child. Okay, again, this is according to not us, them, insiders. So here, in interviews, nearly 24 people who spent time with Trump in 3 weeks since his inauguration said that his mood has careened between surprise and anger as he's faced predictable realities of governing, from congressional delays over his cabinet nominations and legal fights holding up his aggressive initiatives to staff infighting and leaks. Guys, this is why I told you during the primaries when he lost Iowa and he said, it turns out there's this thing called a ground game. I didn't know that. You got to get out the vote. Like, forget that he lost Iowa. Forget everything else about it except for Jesus, who goes into a presidential race. It's the first contest. It's the most important contest. And you don't know you have to get out the vote. That's a guy who never, ever does his homework. That's a spoiled brat. Now, when you have that guy inside the White House and he's like, turns out there's going to be infighting. And sometimes the courts won't let me do what I want. I didn't know I wasn't king. He doesn't know anything about our government. What have we done, America? What have we done? It doesn't get any better. Trump often asks simple questions about policies, proposals, and personnel. And when discussions get bogged down in details, the president has been known to quickly change the subject, quote, to seem in control at all times, one senior government official said, or direct questions about details to his chief strategist, Steve Bannon, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, or House Speaker Paul Ryan. Let's pause there for a second. You guys have all met a guy like this that's insecure, and if he gets caught flat-footed, which in Trump's case is almost always, it's like, oh, yeah, I didn't want to talk about that anyway. Yeah, we're talking about something else. Get a load of two pants over here wanting to talk about this. Anyway, Steve, go ahead, give him the answer. So yeah, Steve Bannon is the president. Oh, for God's sake. Paul Ryan, Donald Trump doesn't even like Paul Ryan. They fought throughout the primaries. His Trump supporters were trying to get Paul Ryan fired. But now that he's president, he doesn't want to be president. He doesn't want to do the job. He likes the title. He likes the office, as you're about to see. But he's like, oh, presidenting. That is so hard. Paul, you go ahead and take it from here. Okay. Some NCS, that's National Security Council staff, believe Trump does not possess the capacity for detail and nuance required to handle sensitive issues discussed on the calls. They're afraid to tell him stuff because the child isn't going to understand it. He has the nuclear football. He has it. He's in charge of the most powerful military ever built by man. And his National Security Council thinks you can't talk to Joffrey because he's an idiot and doesn't understand simple statements and intelligence briefings and policy issues. God help us all. Now, look, some folks in the National Security Council don't like that he's politicized things. Kate McFarland has come in there and during what should be apolitical, nonpartisan discussions about national security, talking about how we're going to make America great again. They're like, this is not the campaign. You got to focus here. Focus on the issues. So there are some people at the National Security Council not happy with Trump. Keep that in mind, and that is relevant in the leaks. So keep it real. That is part of this process, okay? So there's some people have a vested interest in making Trump look bad because they don't agree with him and they think he's a danger to the republic. They're likely right, but the details are confirmed by dozens of people. Now, let's go to one of his friends. He has every reason to stick up for Trump. It's Christopher Ruddy. He's been all over the news, Newsmax media CEO, okay? So this guy's super right-wing. He runs a right-wing website, been friends with Trump for a while. He says, running the federal government is something new for him, for sure. I think he's demonstrated anything in his life. He's a very fast learner and adapts very quickly. The man is not to be underestimated. He went in not knowing a damn thing. Yeah, of course running the federal government is new to him. It's new to everybody. That's why you study. That's why you get ready. And here's one of his best friends saying, yeah, of course he doesn't know anything. I mean, he'll pick it up. I mean, he's already president, but probably at some point he'll pick it up before we all die. But good luck, fast learner. Besides which, he likes maps. Okay, more from Politico. For all his frustrations, Trump has reveled in the trappings of the presidency. He has taken a liking to the Oval Office. Oh, God. Oh, God. This child is walking around like, oh, that's shiny. I like that. And they explain in the rest of the article, too painful to quote, how he brings people into the Oval Office and shows them around. Look, I know every president shows off the Oval Office. I know that. So I'm telling you here, keep it in check and grain of salt and all that, right? But within the context of everything else, when he's showing people shiny objects because he can't focus on past one page, then we've got a real issue in America. The president, who is obsessive about looks and appearance, even was unhappy with a Saturday Night Live parody of the Spicer briefing, partly because the combative press secretary was depicted by a female comedian, Melissa McCarthy. Spoiled brat bully. Going, yeah, Sean, they had a girl play you. Had a girl play you. Shiny object. Maps. Most powerful man on earth. The interviews paint a picture of a powder keg of a workplace where job duties are unclear, morale among some is low, factionalism is rampant, and exhaustion is running high. You know, part of the reason why he's now thinking of firing Mike Flynn for good reason, Reince Priebus, because, I didn't like the way things started. That's not Reince Priebus, that's you, knucklehead. You don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay, Sean's being played by a girl. I'm thinking of firing him. And everybody's on edge. Oh, my God. And there's power struggles everywhere. You know why that happens? Because there's not someone in charge. If you were an actual effective manager, you would set the tone, and you would be very clear. And you'd say, Reince Priebus is my chief of staff. Things are going to flow through him. I'm not going to undermine him 3 weeks in. I'm going to let him do his job. And here's the chain of command. And here's who you report to. Instead, Trump's like, who was in the room last? Who did I show the shiny object to? Squirrel. Okay, Reince. No, not Reince. So Sean, no, played by a girl. No. Oh, you child, you Joffrey. What have we done? Okay. Trump has privately expressed disbelief over the ability of judges, bureaucrats, or lawmakers to delay or even stop him from filling positions and implementing policies. Now, I know there's still a lot of Trump supporters out there. Come on, guys. He doesn't even know that a court can stop a president from doing some things because they have to check whether it's legal or constitutional. Come on, you know that, man. I don't care how alt-right you are. You took civics in 8th grade. You know that. You know we got 3 branches of government, and that the judiciary gets to decide what's legal and constitutional. That the executive branch is sometimes checked by the other 2 branches. You know that. This child doesn't know it. And he's the president. And he went in that unprepared. He's put all of us in grave danger. Finally, Politico reports the transition from overseeing a family business to running the country has been tough on him. Has it? Has it been tough on the baby? My God, man, you have a heavy, heavy responsibility. And if you as a man-child cannot bear it, step aside before you get all of us in a world of trouble. In your case, literally. So I don't care if your feelings are bruised. I don't care if you've been crying all night and you just like pictures and you don't like words. But for God's sake, this is a serious job. So remember, he's never had a boss. He's never had a real job. His daddy gave him $200 million to play with, and every time he screwed it up, his dad came and rescued him. $3.5 million in Atlantic City, $7 million on another project. Bailed him out, bailed him out, bailed him out. He went bankrupt 6 different times. I told you this. It wasn't partisan. It was because this guy is dangerously incompetent. He's a spoiled brat who's never actually had to work for a living. He goes into the White House and he's wandering around in a bathrobe and has no idea what to do and does not have the capacity to learn. We're all in a world of danger here. I don't know when the man-child leaves, but every day that he's in there is a danger to the Republic and, unfortunately, to the entire world. We are the watchers on the wall. We are the sword in the darkness. Come join us. tytnetwork.com/join.